Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something, well, fundamental to being human, aren't we?
We really are. Two key things.
Exactly. Your hands, specifically those amazing opposable thumbs, and, well, your brain, that incredibly powerful processor in your head.
The dexterity and the cognition.
Right. I mean, just think for a second about what you can do with your hands. Tiny, intricate movements, building complex things.
All coordinated by the brain, yeah.
So the big question, and scientists have wondered about this for ages, is whether these two things, our hands and our heads, kind of grew up together. Evolutionarily speaking, of course.
Did one drive the other? Was it a feedback loop, that kind of thing?
Precisely. Do they co-evolve? It sounds simple, but apparently it's been a surprisingly murky area in our evolutionary story.
Until now, perhaps.
Well, that's what we're diving into. There's some fascinating new research just out from the University of Reading. It was published, let's see, August 26, 2025, in Communications Biology.
Ah, yes, the Baker study. Joanna Baker and her team.
That's the one. And it really does offer some, well, eye-opening insights. It seems to tackle that murkiness head-on.
Yeah, it's making some waves.
So our mission today is to unpack this whole story of coevolution for you. We want to give you the shortcut, the highlights, the aha moments from this research.
Getting to the heart of how primate hands and brains got to where they are now.
Exactly, because what this study suggests is pretty profound, that our long thumbs and big brains didn't just happen independently. They're linked, deeply linked, across millions of years.
It strongly supports that theory, yeah. The idea that hands and heads, right across the primate family tree, from lemurs, apes, all the way to us hominins, they really evolved in concert.
In concert, meaning
Meaning as one got more complex or bigger, the other did too. It wasn't random. The study suggests that more complex movements required more sensorimotor control.
Ah, okay. So needing finer control for your hands.
Push the brain to develop more sophisticated control centers. It's this reciprocal thing, a feedback loop driving both forward.
That makes intuitive sense.
Yeah, and Joanna Baker herself, the lead author, she put it quite nicely.
Yeah.
Something like, we've always known our big brains and nimble fingers set us apart.
Right, that's obvious.
But now we can see they didn't evolve separately. As our ancestors got better at picking things up, manipulating objects,
Their brains had to keep pace.
Exactly. Their brains had to grow, to expand, to handle those new skills. And these abilities, she says, were fine-tuned over literally millions of years of brain evolution.
Wow. So this isn't just like an interesting historical fact.
Not at all. It's fundamental. It helps explain why you listening can build things, create art, use tools, interact with your world in such complex ways. It's core to being human.
Okay, so if it's that fundamental, how did they actually uncover this? I mean, we can't exactly go back in time and watch lemurs evolve, right? Yeah.
No, not quite. It involves some really impressive detective work, you could say, looking at the evidence left behind.
Bones and things.
Bones, yes, and even some tissue data. Baker's team did this huge analysis. They looked at 95 different primate species.
95? Seriously?
Yep. And that wasn't just living ones we see today. It included extinct species, fossils, and importantly, a good sample of hominins, too.
Our ancestors and relatives? Like who?
Like us, Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, Homo neanderthalensis, and even the interesting Homo naledi.
Okay, quite the lineup. So what were they measuring on these 95 species?
Well, for the hands, they needed a proxy for dexterity. They focused on the thumb, specifically the length of the first metacarpal, that's the bone in your palm connecting to your thumb. MC1, they call it.
Okay, MC1 for thumb length. What else?
And then the second metacarpal, MC2, leading to the index finger, kind of as a comparison for overall finger length, and of course brain size, either direct mass or estimated from the volume of the skull.
Got it. Thumb bone, finger bone, brain size. But comparing across such different species, evolving over millions of years, that sounds complicated. How do you account for the fact they're related in different ways?
Good point. You can't just plot them on a simple graph. They use some pretty sophisticated methods, Bayesian phylogenetic methods.
Okay, sounds complex. What does that actually do?
Basically, it lets them build evolutionary family trees using statistics. It maps out how species are related and accounts for that shared history when comparing traits. So you can trace how thumb length and brain size changed along those evolutionary branches over millions of years without, being misled by the fact that chimps and humans are already closely related.
Right, it adjusts for the family tree. That makes sense. So what did this sophisticated analysis actually show?
It showed what they called a robust association. A really strong link. And crucially, it wasn't just in hominins or apes, it was across the entire primate
The
order.
whole order, from the earliest ones to us.
Pretty much. Species with relatively longer thumbs, again, linked to better dexterity, consistently, statistically had larger brains.
Wow. And was this link really strong?
So strong, apparently, that even when they took us, Homo sapiens, completely out of the dataset.
Our giant brains and thumbs.
Exactly. Even without us skewing the results, the association between thumb length and brain size across all other primates remains significant.
Okay, that's compelling. That suggests it's not just a human story.
Precisely. It points towards, as the researchers put it, sustained historical coevolution between brain size and dexterity across the primate order.
Sustained historical coevolution. And they link this to the neural costs.
Yes, the significant neural costs of manipulation behaviors. Basically, doing more complex things with your hands costs more brain power.
Like needing a bigger computer to run more complex software.
Kind of, yeah. Whether it was intricate grooming, getting hard-to-reach food, or eventually maybe tool use, these actions demanded more processing power, more neural real estate. And that constant demand over evolutionary time pushed brains to get bigger and, well, smarter in certain ways.
It's this engine driving both forward. Hand skills need brain power. Better brains enable better hand skills.
Exactly, a continuous evolutionary dance.
Okay, that establishes the big picture link.
Yeah.
But you mentioned this study had some surprises too. Something about where in the brain this link was strongest.
Ah, yes. This is where, for me at least, it gets really interesting. Because it kind of pushes back against some standard assumptions.
Go on. They look deeper than just overall brain size.
They did. They broke it down, looking at specific brain regions. Their initial hypothesis, the logical guess, really,
What was that?
was that longer thumbs, more dexterity, would correlate with both a larger cerebellum.
The bit famous for movement control, coordination, right?
Exactly. And also a larger neocortex.
The thinking cap.
The-
Sensory processing, planning, higher thought.
Right. That makes sense, doesn't it? You need coordination and thinking for complex hand movements.
Seems logical. But, sense a but coming.
There is indeed a but, a big one. Their results showed a strong link only with the neocortex.
Only the neocortex.
Yep. When they looked at relative cerebellum size versus thumb length, no significant association popped out.
Whoa. Okay, wait. So the part we associate most directly with coordinating movement, the cerebellum, wasn't strongly linked to the evolution of dexterity, but the thinking part, the neocortex, was.
That's what the data showed. It's quite a twist.
What does that mean then? If it's not just about smoother motor control from the cerebellum, what's the neocortex doing that's so crucial for dexterity evolution?
Well, that's the fascinating implication, isn't it? It suggests that the key evolutionary action, the main neural processes driving this hand-brain link across primates, might be happening primarily in the neocortex.
Meaning?
Meaning it emphasizes the cognitive side, the sensory processing, the planning, the problem solving, the understanding of what you're manipulating and why. It's less about just the raw muscle commands and more about the perception and thought behind the movement.
So it's not just about having nimble fingers, but having smart fingers, guided by a smarter neocortex.
That's a great way to put it. It implies that as primate hands got more capable, it was the thinking cap that really had to step up, maybe even more than the coordination center.
Huh.
The study authors themselves say, we therefore reveal the intriguing possibility that neural processes implicated in the evolution of manual dexterity across primates primarily involve neocortical regions.
Intriguing indeed. It paints a picture where cognition and manipulation are even more tightly interwoven than we might have thought. It's about the brain understanding and strategizing the hand's actions.
Precisely. Smart hands driven by a smart neocortex.
Okay, so that's a major finding about the brain regions. Now let's zoom back in on our own lineage, the hominins. You said we were included.
Yes, Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, Homo naledi, and some earlier ones like Australopithecus sediba.
And obviously we, Homo sapiens, have the longest thumbs relative to our fingers and the biggest brains overall, right? That fits the pattern.
Absolutely. We're kind of the extreme end of this trend, highlighting our exceptional manipulative skills. But here's a really important nuance they found.
Okay.
While we are at the extreme, most hominins, including us, largely fall along the general primate-wide trend line. We conform to that relationship between thumb length and brain size seen across all primates.
So our super long thumbs aren't some complete evolutionary fluke, unique to us.
It seems not entirely. They're more like a really pronounced version, an amplification of this much older, broader primate pattern. We took that existing trend and ran with it, you could say.
We're on the curve, just way out at the end.
Kind of, yeah. It suggests our abilities build upon a deep primate heritage of hand-brain coevolution rather than being something totally new that just popped up.
That's interesting. It connects us more deeply to the rest of the primate world.
It does. And another related point they make, they found no direct significant statistical link between just thumb length itself and known tool use across all the primates they studied.
Wait, really? Longer thumbs didn't automatically mean tool use.
Not in this analysis, looking across the whole data set.
Yeah.
It challenges that simpler idea that if you find a fossil with a relatively long thumb, you can just assume it made tools.
So dexterity is necessary for tool use, maybe, but just having a long thumb isn't sufficient proof.
Seems that way. It's likely more complicated, needing the right brain structures, the right social context, the right environmental pressures, maybe other hand features too, not just thumb length alone.
Okay, that adds another layer of complexity. You mentioned an outlier, though, one hominin that didn't quite fit the trend.
Ah, yes. The exception that proves the rule, perhaps. Australopithecus sediba.
Sediba. What was unusual about them?
They had an unusually long thumb, even for a hominin. But crucially, its thumb was longer than you'd predict, even accounting for its brain size. It deviated from that general primate relationship.
So long thumb, but not the proportionally larger brain size you'd expect based on the overall pattern.
Exactly. It was an outlier, which suggests, well, maybe a different evolutionary path for Sediba. Perhaps different selective pressures were acting on its hands, or maybe its brain organized things differently without needing that overall size increase to match the thumb.
A different experiment in hominin evolution.
Possibly. And interestingly, other research, biomechanical models of Sediba's hand, suggest that despite the long thumb, its ability to actually oppose the thumb, to bring it across the palm, powerfully and precisely.
The key movement for tool use.
Right. That might have been relatively inefficient compared to later Homo species like us.
So long doesn't always equal modern dexterity.
It seems not. Sediba is a great reminder that evolution isn't a straight line. It tries different things, takes detours. You can get similar-looking features, like a long thumb, for potentially different reasons or with different functional outcomes.
Fascinating. It really shows the complexity. Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. We've gone from the broad primate pattern to specific brain regions to nuances in our own lineage. What's the big takeaway here for our understanding of human evolution and, for you listening?
Well, I think the core message is that our incredible dexterity and our powerful minds didn't evolve in isolation. They are fundamentally intertwined.
A hand-in-hand journey, literally.
Yes, exactly. Over millions of years. And that surprise, finding about the neocortex being the key player, not so much the cerebellum, really highlights the cognitive nature of our manual skills. It's not just mechanics, it's thought, perception, planning.
It deepens our understanding of what makes us such effective manipulators of our environment.
Absolutely. And connecting it to a broader concept, this research is a fantastic illustration of embodied cognition.
Embodied cognition. Explain that a bit.
It's the idea that thinking doesn't just happen in the brain in isolation. Our bodies, their structure, their capabilities, how they interact with the world actively shape our minds and cognitive processes. Our physical form isn't just a vehicle for the brain, it's a partner in its development and function.
So our hands becoming more dexterous literally helped shape the evolution of our brains, particularly the thinking parts.
That's the essence of it. This study provides really strong evidence for that deep connection. And that connection is arguably foundational to human success, our tool use, our technology, our art, our complex societies. It all rests in part on this coevolutionary spiral.
It really makes you appreciate your hands and brain in a new light, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
So as we wrap up, maybe a final thought for people to mull over. This coevolution happened over millions of years. But evolution doesn't necessarily stop, does it?
Interesting point. Where are you going with this?
Yeah. Well, think about our world today. We're developing entirely new forms of dexterity, aren't we? Interacting with complex technology, smartphones, keyboards, virtual reality interfaces, even new kinds of cognitive demands.
True. Our hands and minds are constantly adapting to new tools and environments.
So the provocative question for you, listening, is this. As we engage in these new forms of interaction, these new dexterities, could our brains, particularly our neocortex, still be subtly co-evolving right now? Are new neural specializations, maybe even tiny structural reorganizations, occurring in response to these modern demands?
That's a fascinating question. What new neural mechanisms, as the study put it, might be shaping our future cognitive abilities, driven by how we interact with our increasingly complex technology-mediated world, just as our thumbs shaped our past?
What's shaping our future right now in that silent dance between body and mind? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the coevolution of thumbs and brains. We hope it's given you a fresh perspective on your own amazing hands and mind.